Pete Morgan, Mart TV. Thinking about non-lead bullets, as you probably know, that though it's not the law yet, eventually I feel that we're going to fall in line with Europe, regardless of the fact we're not part of it anymore, and all hunting will be done with non-lead cored bullets. I've been shooting wild boar for a good few years with non-lead using Barnes 185 grain TSX in the .338 caliber, and it's very effective. In the UK, I've shot deer with 308 and 270 with non-lead. Again, highly effective. You come to some conclusions after a little bit of time, and I think one of my main conclusions is that I feel you need to up caliber with non-lead, unlike a cord bullet, which they'll expand in a similar manner. They are quite different in how they do it because of the fact that a copper type projectile is a lot more solid than a lead cord projectile. So I'm looking at Britain's favourite caliber for deer stalking, the 243 Winchester. I've got a 243 barrel for my Blaser R8. It's mainly for my daughter. I don't use it that much, but I don't like 243 per se, but I can't deny it's a cracking caliber and does a lot of good work. So I thought I'd look at building or testing a non-lead loadout, and I picked my favourite initially, Barnes TSX. This is an 85 grain monolithic hollow point, which is what Barnes do. And I went to the Barnes website and dug out the load data for this cartridge, and what they do, a bit like Nosler, they give you a recommended powder as well as sort of what works best or not. And I picked Ramshot Hunter, which I've had some success with in other calibers, but not as much as I hoped for. And they say with the 85 grain Barnes TSX, entry level is 42.5 grains, and the top level is 46.5 grains. So that's 4 grains difference. That's quite a lot. They also caution you, because it's a non-lead and therefore a more solid bullet, that you need to approach the low levels first and move up sensibly, and just see what the case is doing and everything. And so what I've done, I've just made up 3 for now, just purely to see how they group before I go any further and waste any more bullets. Initially it's 42.5 grains, which is the lowest level. I picked a middle spot of 44.5 grains, and the highest one is again their recommended top end, 46.5. I've brought along some primed Norma brass, which I use for all my 243. And I'm going to do some loading on the range. So I have some Hunter here, have my little Lee hand press, which is an absolute dream if you're doing load development on the range. Light's handy and it loads just as well as a big machine. Drop tube, powder trickler, and a reloader electronic scale. I tend to favour Lee because they're cheap and they're very effective, and this is my 243 Ultimate die set. What I like about this is it's got everything you need. It comes with a shell holder, you get a standard size decap die, you get a decap but no size die, so it keeps the case at the same dimension it was before firing. You get a taper, you get a crimp, factory crimp die, which means you can just nip in the end of the neck once the round has been loaded, and I find it does make for greater consistency. And obviously you have a bullet seater. I'm going to be just chucking a lower charge into the pan on the scale, and then topping up with my powder trickler to the level one. The idea is that I'm going to shoot these 3 loads, find the one that groups the best, and then work up or work down from it to see where I can get like a sort of sweet spot with it, as in the best group, or can I improve upon the group. I've no idea if these bullets will even shoot through my 243 barrel. Then once I've got something that I like, I can then run it over the chronograph, and once that's done I'll make up a batch and I'll take them out hunting and see, because 243 is 85 grain bullet. This is less at stonking on about 3,250. Light bullet for 243. However, 22-inch barrel on the Blaser. Okay, it's very standard real-time barrel length, but I was considered a little bit short for 243. And though you get a good start speed, 243 does tend to bleed speed very quickly and therefore energy. So my concern is that the bullet is going to expand as it should do. So if you follow me through, say I've just picked one powder, one bullet type for now to see what it does. Thanks to Henry Crank & Co, because they supplied pretty much all the gear, apart from the Barnes bullets. They came from Ray Trade. Thanks to Blaser for the loan of this scope. I wanted a big high mag scope, and they lent me a 4-20 by 58, so I can put it on maximum, shoot it off a bag, so really check accuracy.
Okay, back from the first testing of 43.5 grain load, let's refresh ourselves with the original figures. The 42.5 showed the 0.6 best group without a shadow of a doubt. However, speed was under 3,000 at 2,917, energy was 1,650 at the muzzle, which is sub large deer legal, and it soon bleeds off. Moving on to the 43.5 grain load, there's some significant differences. The group size has increased to 7/8 inch, which obviously is not as good as the 0.6, but marginally better than the other two, which is always nice. And it's coming out the tube at 3,114 feet per second. Stream spread is 44 feet per second, so not a lot of difference there. And energy is 1842, which is good. But again, still, you know, I'm not really sure. Perhaps I'm being a silly old fool here and thinking about it, but I think for an unknown bullet for me, or caliber-wise, to shoot in copper, I would like a bit more oomph. So what I'm thinking of doing now is, I know that the top end 46.5 shoots 1.2 inches, which is not great. However, it's acceptable for deer hunting, and I think with copper, with 243, I'll keep my ranges reasonably sensible. So I'm going to go for a load of 46 grains dead with the 85 grain bullet and see where it goes. And I can, if it shoots around an inch, I can certainly live with that. So this is what the 46 grains of Hunter prints at 100 meters. It's an inch again, and we can see there's like sort of 2 rounds near and 1 pushing out about just under an inch. It doesn't look particularly good, but it's an inch group, and given the fact I'm going to keep the ranges pretty low, 150 probably, just to see how it gets on before we start doing anything else with it. That's nice and acceptable, but good speed, 3,279 feet per second. Extreme spread is 40 feet per second. Not amazing, as it's very similar to the we've seen before. Energy though is 2,031 foot-pounds, which is pretty good, and that will sort of retain well out to 200 compared to the other loads that I've been playing with.
This was just an initial look at seeing if I can produce an accurate 243 non-lead, which wasn't really that hard. However, I've been using a deer target for an iron sight article I'm doing, and I stuck it out to 100 meters. So I went for a neck shot. As you can see when you see the still photograph, that the people make the target superimpose the skeletal structure of the deer on top, so you can see what it is. But it groups nicely, and if you can take a neck shot 100 yards, and that proves it definitely can do, then it's all right by me. It's more than adequate, and now all I've got to do, believe in the ammunition I've made, and see where it goes. So I'll come back to you and just tell you how it was for actually, as I say, when the metal hits the meat, how effective it was, but we'll have to see. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit of interest, a little bit of information. I apologise if some of you think I'm teaching you suck eggs, but there's a lot of people out there thinking about non-lead, and I think quite a few of them are thinking about reloading for non-lead. I've done a fair bit with the bigger calibers, and I'm very happy with what they do. This is the smallest non-lead I've loaded to date, so we'll see. If you like it, comment, show your friends, support the website, usual stuff. And if you want to speak to me, say the new email number is, or address I should say, is pmore.shootingsports@gmail.com. Okay, good shooting, good reloading.